Hello everyone. Now we are going to start our session. This is our last session of the whole course. So I hope that all the participants will be listening to this wonderful session, which is on critical infrastructure security, challenges and opportunity. This session will be half taken by me. Uh, I'm going to introduce myself. Myself, Dr. Jugal Manok Dave. I have completed my PhD on medical devices for early detection of diabetic neuropathy from Bournemouth University, UK. My master is in biomedical engineering. I have completed from Valour Institute of Technology in biomedical engineering, as I told, and my bachelor is in biomedical and instrumentation engineering. I'm having 3 years of experience in IBM as a manual tester, and then I went for PhD, and now I'm working in RRU as a research associate. We have seen many topics like on AI, then data analysis, machine learning, some of the application in critical infrastructure. There are many applications we have already seen. And the last session was very different, like impact of AI on Generation Z, which is really, a very different topic, and it was very interesting because nowadays many like young people which are having age of 18 or 19, how they are taking technology in their mind and how it is impacting them. It was really very good session. I'm just going to share my slide so that we can start the session. I hope it is visible to everyone. As I told, the topic is critical infrastructure security challenges and opportunity. First of all, I would like to ask, like, what is actually a critical infrastructure? Because that is what our FDP is on. So to begin with, I would like to say, like, critical infrastructure. I will just give one example, like those things without which we cannot live, or or we can say that it will be a loss of life. Example is water supply. So for an example, if we are not getting water for 1 day, 2 day, or for 10 days, obviously there will be a loss of life. And if we are not getting electricity, then there will be loss of economy also, loss of life again. So these things are really important for us to live a very good life. So if these things are not provided to us, then we can say that it is not fulfilled. So we can say that, so it's very important for any nation to secure all these critical things, such as I'll be showing you what are the examples of that, what are different types of critical infrastructure. So uh, I'm just adding that if these things are not properly secured or not protected, then it may harm the nation in a very bad way. So it's very important for the government of any country to take care of these uh, infrastructures and to secure in a best possible way. Coming to the next slide. So these are different critical infrastructure which are very important for us. They are public health. Obviously we have seen COVID-19, how was the situation when governments were there are so many hospitals there, but all the hospitals were full with all the patients, and we were not having oxygen cylinders. So that what I was telling, that if any of these critical infrastructure are not fulfilling or not protected, then it will take a life. Second one is telecommunication, electricity and generation, water supply, transportation, economic sector such as banking, which is really very important because this is our security of our money. Then shelter or food, we can say. I will be going step by step. We will go into one by one, like deep into each and every critical infrastructures. So to begin with I will first show you what is the condition like what is the condition of this water supply, how we are facing, what are the challenges and issues which India is facing at the moment. Okay, what is the current situation? So you can see here, urban water systems are vulnerable to threats and disaster, both man-made and natural. How it will be natural? Because if there will be storm in our city, or heavy flood, or there is no water, means drought, means okay, so in this case these are called natural calamities. Because of these calamities there will be a loss of water, or there will be loss of life also because of these calamities. Man-made, how? If we are getting water supply, but if we are not getting water supply through pipes, then we have to go to some other place and get water for ourselves. If those connections are not proper, if those pipes are not available in our house, then also it will be a problem, or we can say water shortage for us. The thing is, these are called man-made. Other thing is natural. So in both the condition, it is a threat to us. Secondly, like water shortage and drought, as I already told, and if these things are not fulfilled, then it will lead to political, humanitarian, and environmental crises throughout history and in many parts of the world. So it's same for, not for India, but it's same for all the countries in the world. So I would like to show you like what is the current scenario in India. Like first of all, I would like to say that India is really under water stressed, and as you know, like India constitutes 16% of the world's population. So it is, we are having a lot of population. As we all know, we are in second number after China. And if we are having scarcity of water, and it is there actually, so I will show you one of the example by showing you this video, where you will see like still women in many villages, in many cities of India, they have to go to some other place to fetch water for themselves and come back. They walk and go and they come back, just to get a pure water, because water is available. Some are very salty, some are contaminated. So here first we will just see, like I will show you the glimpse how people are facing in our country. So I will just start the video. Can you, is it audible? I just want to know whether.
No, it's not audible. It seems it's not audible actually.
Okay. And if it's not, just a minute. Is it audible now? If not, then anyways, I will explain what is going on. Here you can see that this is actually Rajasthan, where so many ladies are coming and they are fetching water for themselves. They have to walk every day for 2.5 kilometer to get the water. They are doing survey, and they are asking women like, why you are coming here, how much time does it take for you to get the water, what about, are you getting pure water or not? So they are saying it's very salty water, and we are doing these things since 5 years. You can, there is a subtitle so you can see. We must wash our clothes. They are not having water for their clothes, for washing clothes, also drinking water for their kids. You can see how many people are coming every day to get the water. How, and the way we are taking water is really very, you know, uh, heart touching. So now this is a second thing which they are second thing that people are committing suicides. So when they commit suicides, the government sometimes they are not taking bodies from the water, and because of that, water get contaminates. And this is the major issue because police says like there are no zero suicide and no bodies, but actually every day 3 to 4 like cases every like people are doing suicides, and because of that, and nobody is taking that body, and it cause contaminates a lot of water. This is a wastage of water. This is how they have found out. See here, like today there are 5 bodies and 2 extras, so 7 bodies in one day. So they are asking people like those who have lost their loved ones. It's a very critical and bad situation. This person is showing like there is a kind of lake where they are getting very pure water. So he's asking that person to drink some water and asking him like whether it is sweet or not. Good water. He's saying yes, it is very sweet water. So he's showing like in this desert area, only that is one place where people are getting water. So have to come to that place, and they are started shifting to that place to get good water. That is the only place where they can get some water. Otherwise, rest of the place it's not available. So they have built their own house nearby it. So they are saying like it took like 3 hours to fill the whole tank of the water because there is no water. There is a scarcity of water. That's what he was saying. It's government work, not our job. So they are doing by themselves. Like that's what he is saying. Actually, it's a serious issue. At 30 to 40 kilometers, he has to come and get the water. So it's very. We are looking into this tank, but there is no one. So only this place they are getting. They can get something. So, anyways, this was the whole video which we have seen. The purpose of showing this video is to, realize like some part of India is still facing lot of issue, and if our population is still increasing, then in coming years it will be really very difficult for not only for humans but also for animals and birds. Like they can get extinct also. Even in many of the cities, groundwater is getting, uh, groundwater is also like level of groundwater is also deteriorating. Anyways, he is speaking, so there is no subtitle. This is how they are managing things. So it's very important for India to move towards saving some like quality water for our future generation. So a very good initiative has been taken by National Institute of students from National Institute of Technology. Their team is known as Team Linkler. What they have done is they are trying to store the rainwater and they record how much rainfall has been done. And what they does is the purpose is they have to store the water for longer period of time. They even check the quality of water using water quality index and water supply in the given area. These students they have designed an underground storage tank with material capable of holding the water on a longer term basis, and its treatment process being monitored on the feedback IoT system. So they also check like whether treatment is done, like water treatment is process is perfectly done or not, and if it's not perfect done, then they will be getting feedback into their IoT system. It is very interesting project, and the project came from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's one of the institute innovation lab. So this is very good initiative. It recently came in newspaper also. So they are using Zigbees for the Wi-Fi connection, getting the data from the their IoT system, whether water is stored perfectly, and if it is stored, it should not be contaminated. Secondly, Singapore is innovating to secure its water future. I would like to say for Singapore, it is actually low-lying island city state Singapore. So in that they are facing a lot of this type of challenges of for storing more water, and they are extremely and they are stressed. They are highly stressed by the scarcity of water. If this continues, then by 2040, Singapore will be having no water. In a way, I should not say no water, but approximately they will be highly stressed if they will not do, or if they are not taking any action before that. But they have used different technology where it is divided into four stages treatment process, that is conventional treatment, microfiltration, reverse osmosis, and UV treatment. So these are the four steps which they are following, and so that whatever wastewater they can convert into drinkable water, and it can be reusable. I will show you a short video which is not longer before which I showed you. So this is how we will see like what technology they are working. The purpose of showing this video is only that we should also think something like this. They are having much more critical problem than us, but they are moving forward to save water. They have invested like $500 million, but the thing is like even though they are investing this much of water, this much of money, only to like they are saying like it's worth spending this much of money only to get water for their future generations. The reserve provides 40%. See, the city hopes to reach 60% by 2060. They are showing their plant, and how they are going to process the whole water. These are the different sensors they are using to check the salt level in the water. So we'll cover 30% of the water need. Yeah, low energy desalination is expected to reduce energy demand by 50% in the near future. This is imports. So yeah, this was just the glimpse like what they are doing, working towards. Right. Now we will be taking like second scenario of telecommunication, or we can say second, critical infrastructure, that is telecommunication in India. So currently, India is the world second largest telecommunication market with subscriber of 1.16 billion. Okay, and India has already passed that level where they are downloading more than many apps they are downloading. They have already downloaded, and they have surpassed the US also. We people are using so many different applications, and we are downloading on a daily basis, that we are now ahead of US also. This is what they are saying, like people are using mobile phones, smartphones, in a way that now we are so much dependent on the technology. So this is nothing but IoT. Here we can see that different sensors and uh, different smartphones, Wi-Fi and different things are used. So I will be giving one example. If for an example, this is a house. If we are making it as a smart house, then what it means? It means that we will be using different sensors. We will be using our smartphone in a way to operate air condition. If you are outside our house also, then also we can on and off the TV as well. Different sensors can be used in the house, so that temperature and humidity can be maintained, or it can be recorded or monitored. If it is less or high, it can be using the feedback system. It will give mm, the alert that okay, this temperature is going so much up or so much down, so that everything will be automatically and automatically controlled and synchronized as per the need. In our smart house we can use cameras also, smart cameras, then uh, other devices to control each and every parameter or whatever we want to control. How it works, I will give one more example. If for an example, there is a smart car. Now it is having like problem in engine. Then what happens, like that sensor will send the data using from the physical sensing parameter. So that sensor will send the data. It will go to the cyberspace. So in cyberspace, the server will check like okay, what are the value or what are the data they are getting. After that, based on whether if there is an alert they have to give, then it will send that information again to the driver or a manual person, that okay, there will be some problem in engine, so please check. After few kilometers, it won't work. Those type of alert can be given to the smart car, and this is how it will be helpful to the operator. It will be helpful for the user to control or see the parameters or predict before it happens. And in this way we can reduce the fatality rate also. So there are different networks, nodes are there, so that the information can be processed, and it will be and the notification and alert can be given to the smart car or smart house as well. This is again the same thing, what I told, like a physical component and cyber component will be there, and both the component, if we are merging, then it is called cyber physical system. Now wireless network control system, This is very, I can give you a very good example where for an, if there is a university, it is having 5 buses. In each and every buses, GPS is there. So what happens, wirelessly the information will be passed to the system, and the control room in the university will check, okay, where this bus has reached. And if, and again, if they are air conditioned bus, the temperature can be controlled using the control from the control room only. So this is one of the example of wireless network control system. And benefit of these wireless control systems are, it is ease of installation and maintenance, low complexity and cost, and very large flexibility. Yes, obviously it is very flexible, because if there is any change in mm, uh, in the temperature, or if it is late also, we can intimate wirelessly from the control system, and accordingly bus driver can take the decision. This is one of the example. This control system can be uh, implemented in many different areas as well. Now 2020, the year of 5G adoption. Why 5G? Because we are nowadays, we are listening, hearing a lot about 5G. We are using 4G. There is no problem. We are getting very good internet. We can download any more apps. We can we can use. We can send messages on WhatsApp. Also, we can do video calls. Then why there is a need of 5G when everything is fulfilled by 4G? So to understand that need, I will be giving you one example. Like for an example, like what I can say, in India, there is a doctor. If he wants to operate, and a patient is in different country, let's take Africa, uh, and that person cannot physically come to our country to get operated. Okay, so if a doctor in India is doing operation, then it is possible only when it's very precise, because robots have to he will be controlling all the robots and do the operation. For that, it's very important to have a very good bandwidth. There should not be a very good network, first of all, bandwidth also, and it should be very high. And this thing will be only possible if we are using 5G connection. Just a second. So this is the we can say this is one way to see, like why 5G is so much important, because it gives the connection will be very good. This type of critical operation can also be possible using 5G network. And uh, uh, and the thing is, like, if there is any delay in taking any decision, then it might be critical to that patient. So this is how this is what I want to say, like why 5G is really very important in doing some of the critical works which we cannot do using 4G or 3G. Challenges and issues. So monitoring call and communication quality is crucial to ensure that a customer get the good kind of telecom experience that they deserve. It has become increasingly important for telecommunication company to make data security and privacy a key priority. This is very important part. When we are doing any communication, it is very important that our data, our personal data, for an example, whatever messages we are sending using WhatsApp or SMS, it should not be it should be fully secured. It should be fully encrypted, so that no one can use our personal data and make use of it. So I'll be giving you one example. Recent experience happened to one of my friend, where they were using OLX, and they have kept something for the sell. They were getting calls from a different person, and they told, like, we can give you token money. And he said yes. And when he said yes, at the time he transferred the money to his Google account, and he came to know after some time 93,000 of his rupees got stolen. So this is what, like, they give you some code, and because of that code, they do this type of activities. So cybersecurity, again, it's a challenging part if we are using communication or telecommunication is increasing in any of the country. This is the major challenge and issue which we are facing at the moment. So solution is artificial intelligence has officially changed the way that we interact on a fundamental level. We have entered a time when many of us use voice commands instead of text to interact with the machines. That's very true. We are in WhatsApp also, like we can send a voice message, and now it is becoming really very easy to communicate using artificial intelligence, because whatever you want to say, even you see in Gmails, like whatever you type, it will whatever you want to type. If you type as two words also, the whole sentence will come automatic. This is nothing but AI, and how the things are becoming very easy for us. So, the interaction of IoT into our everyday world is looming ever closer, with billions of connected, devices already in the marketplace. Platforms that support high levels of connectivity will be essential in the new environment. Very true. So this is what they are saying, like using AI systems, which we have seen a lot of applications in other sessions also. Now coming to the next slide, scenario of power sector in India. This is another critical infrastructure, which is nothing but power sector, and they are saying like the per capita consumption is 16 kilowatt hour in 1947, and it has been grown to 1181 kilowatt hour, and to cater to this, we enhanced our installed capacity 350 times. So when it has been increased from 16 kilowatt to 1180, which means there is a 80 percentage increase of the need. So it's like we can say that the need is increasing as our population is also increased. Now, major challenges which we are facing at the moment is like anxiety in volatility in the sector with respect to government decisions, environment concerns, geopolitical situations, and very fast changing technology in power sector, as well as related sectors such as transportation. I'll be showing you one example. Like nowadays, what we are doing is India is trying to manufacture, semiconductor uh, labs in a way that they can manufacture by their own, so that semiconductor technology can increase a lot. If this will happen in India, then the cost obviously will get reduced. So whatever now we are planning to use, solar panels for getting power out of it. If we are manufacturing semiconductor in India only, so the cost of this solar panel will day by day is going to decrease. And as we are using renewable source of energy, which is the only way we can sustain in the current situation. And if we are using non-renewable source of energy, then what happens, like pollution will also increase, and by 2027 they are saying like and the plan of government is that government's national electricity plan is, if we are using a totally non-renewable source of energy, then by 2027 we will not be using any renewable source, any non-renewable source of energy in future. Just a second. Yeah, sorry for the disturbance. Like because of network issue, like something is not working. Just a second, I will share my slide again. Can you see my slide?
I'm afraid not.
Okay, just a second. Yeah. So can you see it now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Uh, so yeah, scenario of where we were. Just a second. Public transport. Yeah. So here we can use solar panel to generate the electricity, and this is how we can come out from the crisis, and we can even secure electricity. Coming to the next slide is scenario of public transport. Now, bus-based public transport plays an important role and reaches all the corners of city, rural, and hilly region of the country. Public transport being provided by the state road transport undertaking also employ large number of skilled and semi-skilled personnel, resulting in human resource fundamental. So here I would like to show, like in India, if we compare with other countries, like in China they are having 6 bus per 1,000 people, but in India we can see 1.5 bus per 1,000 people. So you can see like our transportation is also so much stressed. They require a lot many buses also, but we are not having. If we are increasing bus also, then again there. Sorry, I got disconnected, I guess. Yeah. This is also very critical, when we are present internet goes, this is also very critical, and we have to secure this. Anyways, let's come to our slide. Introduction of CIS system in transportation. So there are smart transportation critical is very smart transportation critical infrastructure system is very much important. Why? Because for an example, what they are saying, if we are having smart cars, then and if that car can recognize, okay, they are having a lot of sensors. So when they are having a lot of sensors at that time, so if any of the car is coming near to our car, then they can give signal. This way, we can see a lot of fatalities, a lot of accidents, because our car is indicating or beep, giving a beep sound when any car is coming near to us. Secondly, for transportation purpose, as we know, traffic jams are so much. So what example I would like to give is using the control system. They can recognize, okay, this or they can predict also using AI technology that at this particular time traffic is going to increase. So if it is going to happen, they can even divert the direction and give information to each and every car so that it will work accordingly. As you know, like Tesla is a very good example. Tesla, they have launched a very good smart car, which operates by its own. So, it's AI based, car. They have to give signals to it. Just have to feed the path, and it will go automatically, and it will take care of each and everything by its own. In this way, we are reducing, traffic jams as well. And again, lot of accidents can be reduced. Now, third thing, I would say, like if any problem in engine, or if any problem in communicating from one place to another, sometimes what happens, like those path is already saved in the AI system. So next time when he is going from the same route, it will be detecting traffics in the path. And again, when they are on the signals, they can even take care of fuel consumption. So that if a car is waiting, or it is in traffic, then automatically the system will control by, so that what happens, the fuel consumption also will be less. And whenever the road is fully empty, then they can go very easily and they can use their fuel accordingly. So in a way, they are in a way, the system or AI system will also take care of fuel consumption, in which they can save the renewable source of energy. Challenges and issues. So I will like to show, like what other people, for traffic control, they have used different system, different cameras, and whole system is controlled by this server, and how they are taking care of traffic. I will showing you the short video. So here is a control room where where the operator can see, like what is the condition of traffic in the road. So they can detect from this processor, by converting analog signal to the digital conversion. And here they can plan also, okay, there is a traffic jam, there is an accident, they can take decision accordingly. They can even send the information to the driver. Even face recognition is possible. The recognition of each and every car is also possible. Even the two vehicles are monitored and tracked. This is how a very good example of people controlling the traffic and seeing the situation of each and every car going through, or and track not even a car but also a person sitting. This is very good example which we can implement in India as well. Challenges and issues. So cyber security again. This is very of Uber car, or you can Ola car. If uh, I'm if I want to go from one place to another, I will be booking a Uber car. So that car, that person will take me from one place to another place. Second, also I'm booking the Uber car. There is a risk of my personal information. For example, if I'm going for they will be fetching that data, and they can use that data for their own benefit. So challenges of this type of security or this type of AI system if we are using for transportation. Economic thing, when we are using this type of sensors or this type of system, it costs a lot. So if we are using normal, it might increase to 50% in next generation if they are using aircraft. So what we are saying, these technology are very much useful, but at the same time, they can be costly also. Now, how high data? And again, for this type of transportation system, we need very high data rates, but which means high bandwidth also, so that data can be transferred from one place to another very easily and flawlessly, which is very important. Opportunity, what we can see is like our discovery and embrace of the new is fueled in large part by public investments in education and research. The reward related to intensive research. So this is really very it's needed to how to reduce the cost and how to use these transportation facilities effectively. For that, it's very important to overcome these issues and challenges. We have to dig into it and do more research in these areas. Now, scenarios of public health in India. So, major public health problems like malaria, tuberculosis, leprosy, high, and child mortality, and lately even immunodeficiency virus have been, addressed through a concerned action of the government. So these are the diseases which are lately got increased. A number of patients of this disease has been increased a lot, and even mortality rates. A new agenda for public health in India. So it is actually a burden of what is epidemiological transition is nothing but rising burden of chronic non-communicable diseases. The unfinished agenda of maternal and child mortality. This many we have seen recently in COVID-19 how it was unmanageable. Similarly, like these diseases are also increasing day by day, and the like in India, tobacco attributable deaths range has been increased from 80,000 to 99 lakhs. You can say and social, because whenever because of it become very difficult for a person to be socially active, and again a huge economical loss is there. Other challenges like we can see increased burden of emerging and re-emerging disease like COVID-19, drug resistant TB, malaria, SARS, and even flu are coming repeatedly. Re-emerging this type of it re-emerging after every several months or year. We can even we have seen like we have faced a first and second wave of COVID. Now they are saying another third wave is going to come. So in this way, we can say like these are diseases are not going very easily, and it is causing a huge burden to the health sector of India. What government is thinking and what is government's approach is like health system strengthening, which is very true. The National Rural Health Mission has taken an initiative in leap forward in establishing effective health services, because there are a lack of personal health personnel which are available in the hospitals, as we have already seen. an experience also recently, like for health services, sophisticated instruments or medical devices are not available in the hospitals. Even we were facing a lack of oxygen cylinders during the time of pandemic. So those services and facilities has to be increased, which that initiative has been taken by NRHM. Secondly, health information system. Health information system is really very important, because we are storing all the patient data in that system. If that get cracked because of a cyber attack or anything like that, then it will be a huge concern for the nation. I will give you one of the example in UK. What happened recently, they have attacked NHS system, because in their medical system it is controlled by NHS, which is nothing but National Health Surcharge. Because of cyber attack, what they have done, like they have taken lot many datas, patient datas, and they are using that data for their research purpose, which is not good. So these type of attacks, when it happened, uh, what happens, like it has been affected. 1,90,000 people were affected, patients were affected, because that data got lost. And this is a very huge concern for UK, because you cannot use any clinical data without their consent. And if it is very personal data, nobody can use it. So these are the some of the challenges. So that's why health information system should be very much strong. Thirdly, health research system. So what they are saying, like as we have seen a lot of application of AI and machine learning in different areas. Similarly, they are saying, like if we are implementing this type of system in AI system in the clinical research, then it will be really helpful. I will show you one of the example where I was involved in one of the project, which is diabetic retinopathy and glaucoma. So these are two complications which happens to the diabetic patients when they are facing a diabetes for so long. For example, if they are facing diabetes for like suffering a diabetes for like 10 years, then this likely to be happen, like they might suffer from they might develop diabetic retinopathy or glaucoma. So you can see here, like as per WHO, it estimates like 210 million people have diabetes mellitus, which is type 2 diabetes. And number of diabetes patient will increase to 300 million by the year 2025. So it is a huge number, we can say in millions. So now, if you see, like if these many patients are increasing and this complication occurs, then there will be a need of that many numbers of doctors or experts in this field also. Glaucoma, I will explain you what happens in diabetic retinopathy and glaucoma. So this is how like their vision will change. If a person is having glaucoma, normal vision, you can see it is like this. If it is developed to early glaucoma, then the periphery of the vision, it will get lost. In advanced glaucoma, again some of the more periphery will be lost. And again in extreme glaucoma, only center part can be seen. This what happened in glaucoma. Second thing, in diabetic retinopathy, there will be patches in the vision because of hemorrhages in the retina. So what we have done is, like in this project we have used different image processing technique and AI technique to recognize AI technique, to find out what are the different type of hemorrhages are available, or whether a person is suffering from diabetic retinopathy or not. We have used classification technique, and in this we have used drive database. So using that database, we have trained the model using after that, using the model, whenever comes, identify them, classify to like moderate, severe, normal. Glaucoma, glaucoma. In this event, you can see like there are different layers. Like retinal layer, which is the top of the layer, then enter the boundary of RNA, posterior boundary, and anterior posterior boundary will be very much important for us to recognize that the person is suffering from glaucoma. which means the thickness of the layer will be reduced. If it is less than 105 mm, then we can say that person is likely to develop detection of this RNFL layer, and it has been found like this patient was having the thickness of RNFL. If it is below this, then he is there are different thresholds has been kept for mild, moderate, and severe. So based on that, the system will recognize whether a person is severely is having severe level of glaucoma or having moderate or mild. Why have I have shown this example? Because you see, as number of patients are increasing day by day, so in diabetes, like if this many people increases, then there are no such doctors. There are not, lot of number of like there are no doctors available to treat these patients, and if they are not treated, then they will lose their vision. So it's very important that diabetologists or endocrinologists number should be increased. But if it is not, then if this system will helps a lot. So in villages and rural areas where people cannot come to city, they can use this system in a way that they can just give their OCT image or fundus image to the system. The system will automatically say, okay, you are you have already developed glaucoma or not, and those data can be transferred to the expert. So expert has to only review the report, and based on that he can recommend whether what treatment he has the system known as telecommunication ophthalmology, and which is very useful in health sector. So in a way we are reducing you know and in future also, like these patients can be saved from this type of complications. So now what we can say is, if anyone has any questions, they can please ask, so that next part of our talk will be taken by Professor Priyanka Sharma. So anyone wants to ask any questions? You can even write in chat box. Okay. If you have any questions, please write it also. We'll take a 5 to 10 minutes break, and then we'll resume our session soon. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So this is your last session of elementary FDP on advanced. Yes, elementary on advanced. What is the advanced here? The advanced things are the use of data, the tools and techniques of AI, and the decision making. For what? For critical infrastructure. So one of you, I just want number one to on the cameras. We are officially attending, so that I can just interact and I can find out what are the topics which we have discussed. And based on that topic, we'll be winding up this FTP. And very importantly, we'll be deciding for the topics, for the areas, for the applications which we are supposed to design for the advanced one. Yes, so can I invite please Harsh, Mr. Harsh or Dr. Bhaskar or Indira Madam, Mr. Sanjay, the names which are displayed here. Or any one of you, those who are attending. And if nobody will answer, then also I will continue. I will express my views. So, just a minute. Right. So, I have divided my session into two parts. Number one, if I say in initial days it was something like that, nuclear war will be a problem. I mean to say nuclear things, then cyber, then biological war, which is going right now. Now what is? Fine. So biological war, which is a problem in pandemic situation, researches are being done, they are doing it, but we'll be discussing of cyber, right? Because cyber is something like that, it has formed a global village type of thing, the whole world. So I'll be sharing my slides, I'll be showing you the real research which we have done, okay, and how cyber crime, cyber law, cyber security, cyber forensic, artificial intelligence, in which specifically neural network and fuzzy logic, or you say your rules, procedures can be embedded for identifying and analyzing a cyber crime. It means, in nutshell, a smart system that takes decision based on data, procedure, or hybrid can analyze which type of cyber crime you are facing at present, live and static both. Say, for example, if you are receiving abusive mail or cyberbullying mails on regular fashion or regular way, then how it can be identified, how it can be analyzed, right? So one thing, and second thing will be few of the research issues, right? Few of the research issues which, after listening so many days, like Dr. Jugal must have discussed about all the critical infrastructure which we are having, say for example, water. So whatever ethics says, water should be clean, pure, goes on. It should not be poisonous. For example, end user, what he or she wants. What as a citizen of India I want? I want a secure, I want a safe. So who is responsible for the safety? We ourselves. If rule says I have to wear helmet and if I don't wear, then that is a loophole or a carelessness attitude from my side. So safe. If you see an insect in water, you need to have a safety measures. But security, if somebody mix up poison or something like that in that water, or nowadays these all systems are controlled by sophisticated systems, say SCADAs and all those things. If somebody do hacking or something like that, cracking, then who will be suffering? You know, in gas pipelines, if somebody do mischief sitting somewhere miles away, then villages can be, what you say, they can be, you can't imagine what can happen. So just wait a minute, think on these issues. I'll be sharing my slide and then again I'll be coming back to you. Can you see the slides? One of you can answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So just we'll have a very quick look, because I'll be winding up this FDP that you all must be knowing because you all are faculty. But then also I want to present my views and my side to you. Just saying that what we are doing in our university, why we are called as police university, what policing we are doing. So first slide, can you see policing, evolving profession but technological advancement? So from there, just remember one word, that is we are doing policing, right, in cyber space. And you know cyberspace, I'm not going in depth, but this slide we'll be discussing for 5 minutes. You just have a look on this. Number one, I'm talking particularly about cybercrime, about intelligent infrastructure, because hackers are more intelligent than us. We are having good infrastructures, but they are more smarter. They know how to crack and hack the things. So number one, if you are a cyber researcher or cyber police or anything, if you are dealing with it, we need to understand the crimes first. So crimes may be of any category. It are dynamic in nature. It varies from hacking to financial crime to data manipulation to data drilling goes on. So what I have done in my real research, how to analyze, I have created ontology. This is the most tedious work. So ontology, anyone can answer what do you mean by ontology? If you belongs to computer, you are computer faculties. This ontology, can I have some answer or your views? So ontology is a dictionary type of thing, a temporary dictionary or a permanent dictionary by which I can understand that these word means this thing. Okay. So for example, if I say typhoid, so I know which are the keywords. In the same way, if I say this is the crime, I mean if these are the attributes. So based on that attribute, entity relationship be formed, and tools like you may use Protege or something like that. All the ontologies are supposed to be created, which will be implemented in Java or in any language. So the thing becomes, or it starts from here. That means you are automizing the things, and automation includes your ontology, your registration goes on. Prevention, we are preventing these type of crimes by two ways: by monitoring, and if really something bad happens, by doing forensic audit.
Ma'am, your screen is visible, but PPT is not visible.
PPT is not visible? Just a minute, ma'am. I'm stop. Once again, I'm sharing. Wait a minute. Now can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
Hannah, so I was talking about policing, I was talking about cyber world, real world. This slide I was talking about, that it means number one, what we are supposed to do to make any system intelligence. If you go back to the basics, intelligent system means, or intelligent person or the brain means, number one, rules. Rules comes from information, then procedures, then frames, then scripts, and then comes your knowledge base or database. So when database starts taking decision on its own, it becomes knowledge base. So number one, for any infrastructure to secure, either it is based on data or on procedures, we need to make it automized. That means we should have ontology, because every now and then, like Munim ji in old days used to write every transaction. We are not here to write, right? Because of computers, so many things have changed. Secondly, I was talking about crime prevention, which again means preventing everything from your smart cities to your, because nowadays everything is nothing but a computer. So either you, in inauguration, we are talking about physical, mental, so all those things will come. right? So what we are doing in second step or the second part is cyber intelligence or intelligence. So I was telling you any crime can be prevented by two ways, either by monitoring or by investigation. Why I'm investigating? So when I investigate and I find something is bad or some fraud has been committed, I can take action. Action means punishment towards the culprit. So when I punish one person, rest will not do it. So cyber laws are required, cyber intelligence are required. Now how to gather intelligence? So I am having many tools with me. Fine, like I was talking about SCADA, water, you can say gas pipeline. I was talking about smart systems, CCTV, monitors, goes on. So many things are there. Like when I used to study in my master, my sir used to say, okay, go and make a computer system from the things which you see, like medical shop, like this thing, that thing, and a small, small system. But now I see in our hands, we are having 4 system with us. So anytime anything can happen, right? So artificial intelligence was the first thing which we learned in 1999 in the final semester. And हमको पता था कि the definition of AI means what, which is remaining same and having very much relevance. Like artificial intelligence is study of how to make computers do things which are better at compared to people, human beings, and more better in something where we are lacking. And seriously, the definition meaning has not changed. And just look the beauty of the definition that it is still the study. So machine learning, your neural, your fuzzy, your genetic algorithm, all the things comes in your AI. Fine. So with this understanding why my computer should be safe, why my computer network should be safe, I won't be taking each and every step. You just go on your own because you must have learned this thing. Why your critical infrastructures are easy to damage or easy to attack, because they are complex, yeah, they are complex because a person is doing coding. Like we are also making a system in which data of national security, we are having few confidential data, few secondary data, we are having at one place. Now a programmer is committing doing that thing, but he or she can make some mistakes knowingly or unknowingly, like defining a primary key or defining a reference key or giving the field size. Very simple. A buffer overflow. So these are types of errors can come, right? So my critical infrastructure is becoming this. Now you see any financial fraud, piggy banking 0.001. If I write a logic of one line, if this thing is if any account deposit 0.0001 should go in my account, nobody will come to know, and a lot of things can be done. So this is also critical infrastructure. The finance, the share market, your economy goes on. So there are so many examples given here: logic bomb, key loggers, right? So key loggers are nothing but behind us there will be whatever we are logging in, whatever we are entering, they will be recording it and they will be using for cruel purpose or for malicious purpose. Logic bomb, we know, like we are having human bomb or the physical bombs, we are having logic bomb. If the mail ID is of my boss, delete all the mails. So I can do it. And there are so many systems available. So many things are there: biometrics, negligence. See, a small ranging from small pen to crores of rupees. Many a time, accidentally, it happens that we don't care or we are not much aware of the things, especially in our world. That is in the world of. Why I'm talking these all things once again? Because all the infrastructures nowadays are regulated and it is being dependent on our cyber physical system. Now, this example, how many of you know about Stuxnet? Anyone? The first cyber warfare. This, please, I request you that you read this story. You read this case study. Semantic has published this case study. It says this is a real case study of how a critical infrastructure of any country can be attacked, and like at present, few countries are having problems. Right, every citizen, each and every person, ranging from zero age to the maximum one, are suffering. The same thing here happened. So Stuxnet virus was the first atomic bomb of cyber warfare. It was done on a country against Iran, by 2 countries. What happened was, it was a worm. There are the differences between viruses and worm that targeted industrial control system. What I was talking about, that SCADAs and these all things, or automized system, the main server where your data are there, right? Like World Trade, these all things will also come here. So that used to monitor and control large scale industries facility like power plant, dams, waste processing system. So what happened was, if somebody was traveling in a car or in a bus, public bus, everything was halted. You just imagine at this moment for few hours, if we are in the same position, what will happen? Your airport system, your share market, then you name it, and the things will come. Your education system, our FDPs, everything will come on board, and including water supply, right? Including dams. Dams may get overflow, may get underflow. So many things can happen because of this type of virus or one. Yeah, the whole case study is available. You just read it nicely. How motors were controlled. They are known as slip, or every 15 days they will do some mischief. Then again 15 days they will do. How all the motors of all physical systems came to or what damage and a whole position was there. Now these 3 things I have mentioned. If you are interested, you can just see on Kaspersky. You will get real attacks. Which country is doing? I won't go in depth. These are the reasons. These are the types of crimes. Planning. When you plan to attack any infrastructure, like say if somebody has made a plan to attack our university website, what he or she will do? He will first collect all the information, known as passive attack. He will see the validity and he will launch the attack. Like on website, which type of attacks are there? It may be defaming it. It may be something information changed, like on some faculty's photograph, somebody else may be there. Anything can be done. Information may be deleted. Then the worst part will be ransomware type of thing. The whole website will be hijacked. They won't release it so that nobody can see it. Then in admission, in merit list, in fee collection, anything. Just see a university's website is so vulnerable. Then can you imagine any infrastructure? So those who have attended this FDP, let us take a oath कि small, at least small article or small research work we'll do towards this, and we'll submit it, right? And also we are going to publish our book as an outcome. So participants and experts, very specifically you people are invited to contribute in this thing. Soon we'll release the guideline also. So then we scan or scrutinize the gather information and launching. So dear participants, launching an attack takes hardly 10 minutes, but planning may take 5 years, right? बंदूक की गोली चलानी 1 मिनट लगेगा, लेकिन उसकी तैयारी शायद बचपन से लोग करते होंगे, कैसे बंदूक चलाना, कैसे एक इंसान को मारना है ना. Otherwise we cannot kill an ant also. So physically everything, psychology, he or she, a criminal को भी बनाना पड़ता है, ठीक है. So once again, just go on your own. Network. When the computers were standalone, the things were not that vulnerable. They were insecure, but vulnerability was less. Correct. So now I cannot imagine my computer without network. So in my small device known as mobile, I am having networks of 5 to 6 various sources. Then you can just imagine the network or the ports are so critical where I need to be very much. So in passive, I will be going very fast. In passive Google Earth, you can find out from this thing: scanning, network scanning, vulnerability, port scanning, as I told you. Your active attack, maybe from the simplest one, if you are hiding the file, then also it is an attack. These things I will just rush over. Computer forensic, as I told, we will be finding out or investigating the things. Different type of forensics are there. I'm not going in depth, but you can always refer the slide. Legal issues are there. So sometimes giving punishment becomes different. For example, if you are having a Trojan or a virus in your computer or via mail, Sometimes it happened that a human has not created, human has given the logic to the computer, but the computer has created, and computer itself have circulated or propagated or reproduced to many computers. So where at that time, to whom to give punishment? To IP address or the person who is behind it? So these all issues will be there in this world. At our university, we are doing so many things with this subject. How to, like, our researchers are working on advanced network, on SCADA security, on cyber law framework, even on drones, unmanned, so many things. We have the drone is also on another this thing. Now I'm sharing my second part of the slide. Just wait. If you're having anything to ask or anything to discuss or represent your view, you are most welcome. So this I was saying, this slide, can you see, Devina madam?
Yes, ma'am.
Network forensic.
Yes,
Am I
ma'am. It's
doing? Am I
visible.
doing okay?
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Sunil, sir, I think so. He is there. He is. Sanjay, sir, Harsh, J. Nirmala, Indra. Anybody wants to ask or discuss something? Okay, fine. Then I'll move forward. Now, what I was saying is network forensic. Why I'm interested? My expertise is in network forensic. Prakash Meena is asking, is these terms different or same? Where is the text message? Listen, Prakash, can you on your camera? We can discuss nicely. Mr. Prakash, are you there? Yes, Prakash sir, can we interact? How are you, sir? I can't hear you. Okay, fine. I will come back to your question afterwards. Let me finish. I'll come to question afterwards. All the questions together. Yeah, so I was talking about network forensic. Network forensic, if something has happened, what is network? You say wire, wireless. So if something bad has happened on network forensic, we can investigate, and find. I will again rush over the slides. You just see the main points which I want to say. Wireshark, you all must be knowing TCP/IP, legal issues. I'll go see these. So I know something bad has happened. I can, as a countermeasure, we can use IDS, IPS firewalls. So firewall, again, it will range from X firewall to Y firewall. The base will remain firewall. If it can detect, it will be known as IDS. If it can detect and prevent, it will be known as IPS. So with this understanding, this diagram says something. In short, number one, if I want to keep as a human being myself safe and secure, number one, physically, if I'm walking, I may fall down. If I'm driving, so all those things I need to look. Then to my surroundings, anybody is stalking me, goes on, goes on. So in the same way, and then to my country, then to my area, then to my house. In the same way, this thing will work. Block diagram of any preventive system will remain same. You are having knowledge base. You are being taught from your childhood that don't talk to stranger. The same thing will remain here. Firewall knows only three things. I know, I don't know, I may know. So if something is coming, a nice one or a genuine thing, also a genuine log also to your network, if it does not know, it will say I don't know, I cannot allow. Then admin will say no, this is good one. Then only we know all those base things. This tool we are using as such to monitor the traffic, the networks. This type of your firewall depends, or the trust depends. Email I won't be taking because email do comes in infrastructure, but it's okay. So this was about doing investigation in doing investigation or doing forensic in networks. Now just a moment, I will share one more slide. This you can see, Devina madam, this slide.
Yes, ma'am. It's
So,
visible.
whatever I have told you very speedily for winding up our elementary FDP, and then from this point we shall be continuing up with the advanced concept. Just be with me. I'll be telling you something based on these slides. Now, see, my this slide, virtual world crimes, or my virtual world on which my most of the infrastructure depends. Maybe it is medical, maybe it is handling with corona situation, maybe it is arogya setu, maybe the big data, the lab data goes on. It is having certain pluses, certain minuses. You can on your own see fully automated smart system, new business, these all are the positive, and the negative also we know, right? So we as a researcher, why we are developing ourselves, why we are learning new things, so that we can contribute. These are the problems or the nature of the things which we are dealing with. They are dynamic trends to I may solve. And like this virus was also dynamic. We were not knowing, but now it is known for us. So it goes and goes. So if you say smart system, I want to develop, right? What our topic says that I want a smart system for my any information system. It should be safe and secure. So I need, once again, just a minute. The smart system definition, I'm not going into it. The system which can take decision on its own can predict. Say for example, if you are doing this FDP, you can predict certain things. Okay, I will get certificate, I will get this thing. But new associations we have found, new knowledge pieces we have gathered. We can do something new. It excites as a researcher and an academician. So AI and cybersecurity specifically, I talk secure code, identification, live attacks, analysis of cybercrime data, and prediction. So my first generation used to say surgery, devices, object. It raised to petroleum, energy, ecologic. It raised to intelligence, user interface. तो अभी का जो जमाना है वो क्या है पता है? वो है इंटेलिजेंट यूजर इंटरफेस. You will enter Navratri is my favorite festival. Pink is my favorite color. They will mix everything and do such a digital marketing. If you don't want to buy, then also you'll purchase something. It begins from a very simple marketing thing to so many other things. So many apps, devices, games are there taking our data. Even COVID data. They are playing with the medical data also. In such a tough time. Cognitive science. Cognitive science where your psychology, your these all type of behavior patterns and everything is what you say is measured. These type of games which leads even to suicides. Machine learning, a lot many things are being taught. मुझे लगता है बहुत बातें हुई होगी. But machine learning is successful when your system is supporting it. If I want to make if in my class 50 students are there, I am asking them to learn the same thing, but only 2 students learn nicely and give result. It's something like that. So please, whenever you develop an algorithm, try to see the application, how many datas are there, classify it, and implementation, deployment. These all things are very important. Like you may be doing machine learning and all those things where static data are there, they are very good. Now real researchers are going in the dynamic one. You see, like example I was saying about SCADA gas pipeline. Now their machine learning they are doing. From where the gas pipeline real data like humidity, pressure, temperature are coming, which can change or which are based on so many external factors. Okay, my attendance, employees' attendance is based on what? My bus timings, my own timings, my leave. So these are very static one. But the dynamic when I can solve that will be known as intelligent. Because the basic again says the same of AI. Chess game is intelligent, tic-tac-toe is not intelligent. So when I develop a smart system or a smart data analytical system, these are the steps which I need to follow for the success rate of my system. It is domain, initial, appropriate system, which softwares I will be using. If everybody is using Hadoop, then don't go for it, because after 1 or 2 years you'll find something else. If so many things are there. But one thing will never change. Tools will change. But your heart of your system, of any critical infrastructure, either solving, it will be the data or the knowledge which it is having. So as a human has knowledge or data in his or her mind, in the same way system will be having. And as I told, execution, documentation is one another important thing. Techniques which can be used to develop, you must have seen this fuzzy, I told you, deep learning. So deep learning next time in our advanced one we'll be keeping, and we'll be inviting experts from Singapore University, NTU, Nanyang Technological University, because there are a lot of things in deep learning. They were in short the pioneer of these all things. So we'll be inviting. This time we had from Taiwan experts, from Canada. So we'll be trying our best next time also. So this is the thing when I say that the knowledge is the heart of my system. So these are my cyber crimes, these are my cyber laws. Cybercrime is of dynamic nature. Laws are also of dynamic nature, but not of that frequency. Because in 2010, some 2 or 3 amendments will come, like in Nirbhaya case. So amendments will be there, but what I'm supposed to do of this thing? I'm supposed to create ontology on this. So one simple example I have taken. So I am trying to form my heart of the system, that is knowledge, in such a way that my ontology does not change. Secondly, I can share my ontology with anyone in the world. Okay, but listen, if I am saying that my cybercrime definition means in India this thing, then since the cybercrime is global in nature, the same thing will be yours. So let us combine, let us fight together with the same type of crimes. This way, one example I have taken, phishing. So phishing types are smishing, flash, spear, or one type is having another attributes. So this thing, if you're a computer person, you will understand multi-class, what you say, single class, multi attributes, single attributes. Inside it is metadata. So these all things have to be automized. And then naturally the steps will be, when you have done it, will be pre-processing will be there, then machine learning algorithm, and the last step will be knowledge discovery, analysis of result and representation. What you have discovered out of thousands and these many data, why you are learning, why you are analyzing these data. So if I want to solve a case, say for example of any murder or something like that, I'm doing forensic, I try to find out all the relatives, reasons, it's something like that. But here in predictive policing, what we are doing, we are everything finding it, and we are saying, okay, see, this person's profession is this thing, he's meeting with this one, he's involved in this one. So after 5 years, the person can be harmed. So this is the difference. So we are trying to prevent, we are trying to monitor, we are trying to make anything which comes across critical infrastructure. This is something in this algorithm I had used neurogenetic algorithm for identifying, for classifying. If time permits, next time I will be showing you this algorithm, how really it works. But the output of this algorithm was text mining, how to find out the malicious text, how to classify it, and not only these things, it will learn also. And dynamically, it will add into the ontology which we have created. So such a great system, it is still in building stage. So this was something, your screens, this type of result algorithm we had done, and this way my website looks. Observations were there, we have discovered knowledge, I have found out in my area itself where I stay why the crimes are happening more, which critical infrastructure. So it was the financial reasons. So then as you know, in cyber world only 2 solutions are there, cyber awareness and some intelligent tools. So in both the ways we are working, we are trying to spread this thing, cyber awareness, and we are developing smart tools, techniques. It may be form of pen drive, it can be in the form of a software code of 1 line. Don't allow, if you, for example, so by combining these all things, since critical infrastructure depends on this one, your computerization, your automation, your connectivity, it's very important to keep these all things secure. And these all things should be secure ethically. One of the major administrative and legal issue is, sometimes it happens that some crime scene has been committed and 5 computers are there, but all this encryption, decryption is again an ethical issue, that you cannot see somebody's data, because while investigation, you are just investigation getting. It is not clear who is the culprit and who is not the culprit, right? So these all things we should keep in our mind, and see you soon next time. I hope with this we'll be winding up.